Good morning. Welcome everybody to this live. I am just give me just 1 second. Let me make sure that I can see your comments. Um, so I want to do this live really quick. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. I wanted to do this live about what boundaries actually look like because I've been getting more and more questions on my social media and comments and videos that I've previously done asking about why people's boundaries don't work. And first of all, I want to make sure that you understand what boundaries are. Most people don't have boundaries, they have suggestions. And so then they say to me, well, I did set up a boundary with the narcissist, but the narcissist didn't respect my boundary. And they went right on through it. If that's the case, then you have a suggestion. Boundaries always come with consequences. So, of course, the narcissist is going to do, in specific, this channel is about narcissistic abuse recovery, but this is true no matter what kind of person you're dealing with. Even healthy people need boundaries. Even another person who's healthy, you need to have boundaries with them. This is a normal part of life. Um, so I just want to make sure that you understand it's not just a narcissist that you need boundaries with. And most people actually wouldn't have never found themselves to be with a narcissist except that they didn't have boundaries in their life to begin with, and they uh, allowed the narcissist to kind of sneak in. Okay, so that's something that's really important to note. Um, so if the narcissist does something that you don't like, there needs to be a consequence for when that happens. So if the narcissist, for example, let's say you have set boundaries about communicating with a narcissist. I'm available during these hours to these hours, and unless it's an emergency, please don't text me outside of those hours, or don't email me, or don't call me, or whatever it is. If the narcissist is calling you outside of those hours, you don't answer the phone. That's the consequence. So you shut your phone off. You turn off the notifications for their texts, their emails, their calls after a certain time. You know you can do that on your phone. You set the boundaries of when you're available to be reached by the narcissist in this scenario. One of the things that I want to take a quick second to explain is what boundaries actually are. So imagine a puzzle. It has 1,000 pieces in it. Each one of those pieces has very defined boundaries. You can try to force one of the pieces into another piece. You can try to do that, and you will break the piece that you are trying to form into a space where it doesn't belong. This is the nature of boundaries. Boundaries aren't for the other piece, it's for that specific piece because it shows where that one goes in the larger picture. Having boundaries doesn't mean that you don't connect with people. It doesn't mean that you keep everybody out. It means that there's a very set way of meshing with me. There's a very set way of interacting and connecting to me. And if you don't respect those, then we're just not going to be connected. Lots of times people misunderstand what boundaries are and how they are actually formed, implemented, and enforced. And the thing that I want to do in this live for is to make sure that you understand that they're for you. They're about your shape. The boundaries will literally shape your life. You're the puzzle piece that I'm speaking about in this scenario, and you want to connect with people who are going to help create a beautiful picture for your life. The overall scenario that you're living in, you want that to be as beautiful and as seamless as possible. So if you find that you're surrounded by people who don't get you or who don't respect you. It's because you've allowed yourself to be formed into somebody else's part of the puzzle. You've moved your boundaries in order to accommodate somebody else. And this is about taking back your power and you understanding that you are in control of your life. You get to shape how your life is created. Boundaries tell you who fits into your life and where you fit into the greater whole. Just because you have boundaries, let's say you're the puzzle piece, if there's not a place for you to fit in, then you've created an isolating island for yourself. And that's the opposite of what boundaries are supposed to do. Boundaries are supposed to say, this is where I end and you begin. And here's where we connect. Here's how our lives fit together. Here's how we are creating a greater community, society, whatever, family. Here's how that works. Here's how that will help us to achieve both of our goals. Boundaries are not about controlling or shaping somebody else's life. You don't get to shape somebody else's behavior. You can have, again, the boundary is for you. And so it's a reminder of what you do and do not want in your life. It's a reminder of what you will and will not tolerate in your life. It has nothing to do with somebody else. If somebody else doesn't want to abide by those rules, that's fine. There's another place for them to go fit in. They're just simply not going to be one of the connecting pieces around you. Boundaries are simply stating that if somebody does not treat you in a way that you want to be treated, then you make the change. You make the change, not them. They get the opportunity to, but it's not you forcing them or trying to control their behavior. You're simply stating, hey, this type of behavior is not acceptable to me. And if it continues, I can't be around you. I can't connect with you any longer. And they get to make the change. But it's ultimately about you controlling your behavior. If this person has already showed you that they're toxic, that they're not willing to respect your boundaries, that they want to force you to fit into their life, and they're not respectful of the piece that you're created to fill in life, then you do something different. The other person has made a choice, which is to remain the same. They've chosen to not respect your boundaries, and that's okay too. They get to make their choice, and you need to be okay with other people making their decision, even if it's an unhealthy decision for that person. This is why you can't force people to leave unhealthy situations, even if you see it's unhealthy. It's not your decision. It's not your choice. What you can do is present the facts. You can be there. You can be consistent in your behavior, but you can't make a decision for somebody else's life. They are in control of how their piece of the puzzle looks. They're in control of shaping the boundary, literally, of their life. Boundaries determine, as I said, where you fit into life in this greater whole, right? Where how your life will be shaped in not just as you as an individual, but you and a community around you. So that can be your immediate family, it can be your extended family, it can be your community, it can be your church family, it can be your gym community. All of these places that you go in life, you are fitting into the greater whole around you. You are determining who and what and where connects into your life, how you're spending all of the minutes of your day, of your life. So having strong boundaries means that you do not mold into whatever people want you to be, but rather you find those people who also have healthy boundaries, who say, I fit this way. These are the boundaries about my life. And it looks like we connect very well. It looks like our pieces fit together perfectly because I respect that you have that shape and I have this shape. And we have found a way to connect in a healthy way. We're not forcing each other to be to try to make a picture, right? If it's not going to work out, let that go, because you're the longer you stay stuck in a place where that's not making a picture, it's not making your life work, then that's less time that you are spending in the actual place where you do fit in, where you do make it work, where you are making a picture and you are building something greater. This is really important to get a hold of. You want to find people who honor and respect your boundaries, and you honor and respect other people's boundaries. This is how those pieces of the puzzle come together to make that greater whole, that greater picture. And this is ultimately what everybody is after. But if you have it in your head, I will connect with this piece will be next to me, I will make that piece connect to me, even when it's clear that that piece is not supposed to connect to you, you're going to have problems. You're going to have resistance, because sometimes the way that you've thought the picture should look is not the way the picture is going to look. So you need to be able to really take a step back. Right now you're seeing your piece and this other piece, and you really want them to go together. But you need to take a step back and look at the picture that's on the box, of the puzzle, so that you can actually see this is how it's supposed to look. It looks like I'm trying to force this piece over here because in my mind I've decided that this is what the picture will look like. When you can take a step back and you are able to see what the picture will actually look like, it's going to be better anyway. You're going to be happier when you find people who have already gone through the same process that you have in terms of honoring yourself and respecting yourself. When you make a commitment to yourself, the way that you respond to that commitment directly tells people how they should treat you. So if you've made a commitment to yourself and you're in the habit of breaking those commitments, okay, this is what this looks like. Starting Monday, I'm going to start working out. On January 1st, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to stop hanging out with this group of people. I'm going to go no contact with the narcissist. These are all commitments to yourself, and the way that you react to those commitments, whether you honor them or whether you ignore them, you're teaching other people how it's appropriate to treat you. You're teaching people if they should also respect the commitments that they make to you, or if you don't respect the commitments that you make to yourself, so it's okay if they don't keep their commitments as well. You are teaching other people how to treat you every time you make a commitment to yourself. The way you respond to that commitment is telling them the way that it's okay to treat you. When people have gone through this same process, so when people have come to the understanding, hey, I'm in control of my life, I'm not going to wait for this person to give me the respect that I deserve. When I'm in control of how people treat me, I'm in control of who's in my life. I'm in control of that. When you stop outsourcing it, then you are going to be able to start making a change, and making changes quickly as well. You may find yourself outside of the puzzle for a while, right? There's no place that seemingly is open for you to connect with. But that's just because the greater whole that you're going to fit in is in the process of getting rearranged. When you stop trying to force stuff, when you stop trying to force things to happen the way that you think it should happen, you open it up to flow naturally. You open it up to just do what it's supposed to do. Not all disconnection means that you did something wrong. A lot of people think if my life isn't looking a certain way, if I don't have a certain number of friends, if I'm not married, if I don't have communication with my nuclear family, then I've done something wrong. There's something wrong with me. Everybody else has that. How come I'm the only one who doesn't? And so we start retreating off of the progress that we've been making. We've been making steps forward, but now we're taking a look and we're saying, this isn't how it should look, because again, we have a certain idea of how the picture should look in our heads, and we want it to look like that picture. We have to be willing to step back and to see how the picture is going to unfold its own self. Take a look at the picture on the box, so to speak, and see where these pieces, how they all fit together. It seems like in the middle of doing the puzzle, this will never get put together because there's so many pieces and there's so many of the same kind of colors. How do I know if this one goes with this one? They just fit naturally. There's a lot of counterfeits out there. There's a lot of things looking like how it should be. We have a lot of shoulds going on, right? You should have contact with your mom and dad. You should have a relationship with your nuclear family. You should get married and never get divorced. You should have these, right? There's a lot of shoulds out there. Stop listening to that. That is noise. And start taking a step back so that you can see the picture clearly. What does your community look like? What are those pieces that are connected to you looking like? Stop trying to force them into a certain area of your life when it's clear that that will never make a picture. You can try to ignore, like, hey, we got 999 of those 1,000 puzzle pieces all together, but I've decided that that one should go there. That means that one isn't in its right place. And it's usually you. You're the one who suffers by trying to accommodate all of these pieces that want to connect to you, whether they're healthy or not. And again, just because somebody is healthy doesn't mean that they're the person that you should be connected to. That's great. I'm glad that they're healthy. They need to make a picture over there. They're supposed to be connected to pieces over here. That has nothing to do with it. That isn't the all right, they're a healthy person, therefore I'm getting connected to them. That there can be other reasons why you don't connect well. Maybe you don't have the same values, you don't have the same interests, you don't have the same work schedule. It could be something as simple as that. That cannot be the end all be all for the standard of how people come into your life. And so I just really wanted to do this live very quickly so that we can all have an understanding of what boundaries look like. If you continuously allow somebody, if you say it to somebody, this is how my puzzle piece looks. These are my boundaries. This is how my life is shaped, and this is how I want to connect with other people. If you're saying that, but your actions are not backing that up, so it's like, I only want people who will talk to me with respect. Okay, you're not talking to me with respect, but I'll make an exception. The more times that you make those exceptions, you're being forced into somebody else's puzzle piece. You're not in control of your puzzle piece any longer. You're allowing them to shape how your life is unfolding. So this often requires people to do things that they've never done before. When you start setting boundaries, you will lose people who aren't supposed to be connected with you, and you'll also gain people. You have to be willing to accept that there could be something better. A lot of people hold on to what they have now because it's less scary than thinking about the unknown. If I let go of this piece, will I ever get another piece? Maybe I'll just be out here by myself. I'm just going to be a puzzle piece by myself with no puzzle to go into. The fear of the unknown keeps people where they are. If you want something different, you have to do something different. Okay? Let me read some of the comments. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for waiting. I just stopped dealing with people. Okay, so I just discussed that just a second ago. So you can, that's an option. Everybody gets to choose again, like how their life looks. If you would rather, if the gamble of being with people and not trusting yourself enough to have strong boundaries with people, if that is too much of a gamble, you can absolutely just be isolated by yourself and not connect with people. Or you can spend time by yourself so that you heal. And then when you're ready, you can start implementing strong boundaries as you build relationships. I actually have an entire course that teaches you how to do this, by the way. It's called Building Trust. It's on my website. It's in the link in this description somewhere. But yeah, and it teaches you literally how to start building relationships from the ground up in a healthy way that will have boundaries at the very center of the relationship. Without boundaries, you don't actually have relationship. What you have is you have somebody who likes you as long as you do what they want you to do. That, my friends, is called a slave. You don't have a friendship. It's not a give and take. You're literally being a slave. Can you tell us how to deal with workplace bullying? Okay, I have a bunch of videos on this. I have a bunch of videos where I talk about bullies and narcissistic personalities in the workplace. Let me just give you like a quick rundown. Number 1, limit your interaction with them. Number 2, if you do need to interact with them, bring somebody else. Number 3, follow up every single conversation that you have with them in writing, and CC as many people who are in the group or whatever as possible. Don't interact with them one-on-one, whether it's through email or in person, as much as you can. Keep a record of everything that happens, just in case you ever need it. And if necessary, you can get HR involved. Okay, so but go watch those videos because I go through that stuff a lot more in depth. Okay, I was so heartbroken. I'm still recovering after a year. That's a great point. I would also like to just quickly talk about this. A lot of people think, how long does it take, right? It's about the time. Well, in 1 year is enough time and then I should be recovered. Or in 6 months, it's enough time and I should be recovered. It doesn't work like that. First of all, every person is different. And second of all, it's about what you do with the time. You can let a year pass and have it be as if some traumatic event happened to you that just 1 day ago or 1 hour ago. That another person could move on after 6 months. It's about how you use the time. It is how you use the time. You have to be diligent about the healing process. This is no different than any other goal that you would set for your life. You don't just wake up and become a doctor. You work at that every single day. You make a plan. You get it together. And every single day you wake up with that as your goal. Sometimes it takes longer. There isn't such a thing as if I let enough time pass, then it'll just magically happen. It's about what you do with the time, right? So one person can spend 5 years working a minimum wage job and be in the same position 5 years later. Another person can spend that 5 years working a minimum wage job and going to school to become a doctor in 5 years. They're not going to be in the same place at the end of the 5 years because they did something different with their time. They both had 24 hours. They just used it differently. So it isn't about time. And if you think about it as like I've wasted a year, or a year has gone by and I'm still in the same place, that will determine the growth and so how quickly your growth occurs and the outcome that you have. Because if you look at it on the other hand, as I've spent a year already nurturing myself, already healing from these things that I've spent maybe an entire lifetime dealing with. And in a year from now, here's my goals for the next year. Here's where I want to be a year from now. And I'm going to look back and say that those 2 years that I spent healing was such a great investment for me. I spent 4 years healing. And it was worth it to me because by the time that I came to be a coach and I'm ready to share with other people about my story, they're not getting my wounds. They're getting my healing. I'm not going to share with people my pain when they're already in pain. I know that they're in pain. What good is it if all we're doing is just like mixing our pain around? I want to be able to give to people my healing. You understand that your process also is part of your purpose. The process that you go through in your healing has to do with your purpose. My purpose is to help other people with that. So of course my process is going to take longer because it's not just about me. I'm not just healing myself. I'm healing those people that I'll touch in the future. Susan, you're amazing. You're doing so good at setting boundaries. So anyway, I hope that this video helps you understand that that you really are in control of your life. I have a video that is coming out in a month or so, and I talk about, when it seems impossible for your life to look any different, it's important to take a look at all of the things that you're actually in control of and pick one of those areas that you commit to yourself that you're going to start making a change in. These don't have to be big areas. These can be small things, and those small changes in behavior will snowball over time. So, for example, if you're tired of living in the neighborhood that you do, or maybe you're renting and your goal is to buy a house, it can seem like an insurmountable task when, these circumstances that surround your life are seeming so big, and you've shifted your perspective to make those problems very big and you're very small, and it's unbalanced. When you change your perspective, which is what this video, I've been talking about this, you got to zoom out. You need a 30,000 foot view at your life sometimes. That's truly the perspective you need to have. When you can zoom out, you see that there's actually always a solution for every single situation, every single problem that you think you're facing. That's a problem that's always just going to be there. There's always a solution for those things. Your perspective will determine whether or not you come across that solution or not. And then your dedication to yourself, your intestinal fortitude will determine if you stick with the goal to overcome that obstacle. I have a video that's called The Power of Perspective, where I talk about this more. I talk about how to get a shift in your perspective, because sometimes if you're used to looking at something just all the time from the same angle, you don't even know how to get a bigger perspective. So in that video, I talk to you about how to do that. Okay, perfect. Well, I hope that this has helped you guys. I'm just wanting to make sure I got all of your comments here. Yeah. So I seriously hope that you will listen to this video and just take an account of your life. Where are there areas that you've been allowing other people to shape your puzzle piece, as opposed to just letting your puzzle piece be determined by you? You're in control of your life, and just see, okay, you know what? My in-laws are used to always just stopping by my house without calling. They just feel like they can just come by whenever they want. That's an area where you don't have a boundary. Why don't you start working on that one thing? When you start getting comfortable saying no to people, you'll be surprised how easy it actually is. You guys, I'm having I do one-on-one coaching. I don't do counseling. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm a certified life coach. So I do coaching, yes, and the link to that information is in the description of this video. You guys, if you want to join me at 1:30 Central Time today, I will be live on my Instagram page with Narc Abuse TV. They're interviewing me, so if you want to tune into that, you can go follow me on Instagram, and I'll be streaming it live in my stories there as well. So you can find that there if you're interested. Susan, you're such a blessing to me too. Thank you so much. You guys, thanks so much for watching this video, for tuning in. I pray just blessings over the rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon.